Welcome to the Section 111 podcast with your host, TJ Shoemaker.
There is no nobility in poverty. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time.
Haters wanna ball, let me tighten up my drawstring. Wrong sport, you know yourself as a lacrosse team.
And welcome to episode 7 of the Section 111 podcast. I'm your host, TJ Shoemaker. And as always, I'll be joined by Tyler Shoemaker as he gives us his top plays for week 4 of the college football betting world. Tyler, how you doing?
Hey, good. Good to be back on the pod. I missed you last week.
Yeah, I'd like to apologize to everybody for that. I had to cancel last week's episode as things were getting kind of hectic, as I had to pack and do a lot of things in preparation for going to New York this past weekend. But we're back at it this week and ready to start cashing again.
Yep. Well, nonetheless, I was able to tweet out my picks. Hopefully the listeners jumped on that. We broke even last week, 5-5-1, so split it straight down the middle. But I'm just to recap last week's picks quickly. I mean, it was 5-5-1, but that easily could have been an 8-2-1 weekend. Friday night we had North Carolina and Washington State both with an opportunity to cover late in those games, and in the North Carolina game, the guy didn't step out of bounds in time, and the clock ran out on him as they were going for their game-winning drive. And Washington State had a chance to score late and didn't, so that cost us 2 games right there. So we had some bad beats. Iowa, they won by 1. We had them I gave it out at -2.5, and I think they missed a field goal in that game that would have given us the cover. So kind of a tough break, but nonetheless, I feel really good about the system. We called we had Temple plus 7.5. They win outright as the underdog against Maryland when pretty much the whole world was on Maryland except us. So we were able to cash that one. We also had Arizona State plus 14 against Michigan State, and they won outright as underdogs. So I'm very confident in the system and looking forward to week 4.
Yeah, there's kind of just been a little bit of bad luck at the end of the games the past couple of weeks. Kind of going back to week 2, there was the which game was it that we lost last second on both times? Clemson and Texas A&M. That was one that I had said that I was kind of back and forth on. You gave it out at Clemson -16 or -16.5, I believe, and Texas A&M gets a touchdown literally with 20 seconds to go to blow that one. And then there was another one. Texas ended up pushing because they had LSU 3rd and 17, and their defense coordinator decided to bring the house, and he ended up getting burnt by Joe Burrow for a huge touchdown pass, and they ended up coming back down the field and scoring, but they kicked the field goal, and it brought it to 7, and that's where it was at, and it pushed. But a lot of last-second bad luck lately. But
yeah, it's been a rough couple of weeks for us on the bad beats. I mean, in fairness, we did have the Florida miracle touchdown at the end that gave us the push, so that we'll wash out one of those bad beats with that one. But overall, we've definitely been on the wrong end of the luck the past couple weeks.
Yeah, definitely. And as a Florida fan, I'm glad that I didn't get to watch that game because I probably would have lost 10 years of my life on it. Yeah, I'm ready to get going this week, and hopefully we can get on the right side of things and some of that bad luck turn around, because those, like you said, that could easily be, last week could have gone 8-2 instead of 5-5 with a couple fluke plays and whatnot. But
yeah, exactly. I mean, and even with a bad week like that, I mean, we're still through 3 weeks now of picks that I've given out on the pod and on Twitter. I mean, we're 17-12-2. So we're right there, as good as you could expect to be. I mean, you want to be, if you can hit 55% of your bets, I mean, that's fantastic. And we're definitely between 55 and 60% right now. So I'm definitely excited and confident in the system. I mean, overall, if we had put money down on every single FBS game that's been played over the 3 weeks, we would be 72, 57, and 2, good for 56%, on that high on that big of a sample size. So, I mean, that's great. So I definitely have confidence in the system, and I'm looking forward to, continuing to refine it and hopefully find some trends that we can capitalize on to cash out.
Yeah, definitely. And if there's anyone listening that's kind of new to betting or haven't been doing it for a long period of time, the key to it is long-term success, and that's kind of what we're here to bring you, is try to bring you long-term success. That way, over a period of time, you can make money. Understand that in sports betting, you're not going to have winning nights every single night or even winning weekends. Sometimes you're going to break even. Sometimes you might even be down. But the key to kind of getting through those, I'll call it a losing streak. But the key to getting through that is bankroll management and, making sure that you're consistently betting the same amount each game. And that's going to get you through the losing days or the losing weekends. And along with that, you're also going to have winning days and winning weekends. And that's going to get you through the slumps and help you manage your money, because a lot of people just have bad bankroll management, and they'll have a losing weekend, and then say on like a Monday night football game or whatever, they're trying to make up for everything that they lost, and so they're betting more, and you're just going to get yourself in the hole that way. So it's really important to maintain good bank management skills, and that's how you're going to see your money grow over a period of time, is betting consistently.
Yep, exactly. That's great advice. I think everyone definitely needs to listen to that. I mean, we're definitely not going to be those people. I mean, you see a ton of these touts and these handicappers online that are saying that they're hitting 75% of their picks, and that's just not sustainable. I mean, even if you hit that for, a day or a weekend, or even, I mean, under the best of circumstances, a week, that average is you're going to regress to the mean. So, I mean, if you have a system in place where you can hit 55%, that's going to be profitable in the long term. So you just gotta stay disciplined and stay with it. And definitely think we've got a good system in place. And the season we're up. So I hope everyone's been following the picks, and we're gonna continue to grind away at it and add to the bankroll.
Exactly. Let's go ahead and we'll just kind of jump right into it. We're going to go with your top 5 plays this week. So if you want to, you can start with number 5, or however you want to start.
All right. Yep. We'll start at number 5. I've got Appalachian State at North Carolina. Appalachian State's catching 3 points here. The weird thing is my numbers actually have Appalachian State winning the game outright by 6 points. So definitely mispricing here in the market. Right now, North Carolina, I think, is getting 60% of the bets. So, I mean, the public is fairly heavy on North Carolina. So we're going to be on App State. And just a couple of quick trends here on this game. Appalachian State is 6-0 after a bye week over the last 3 years. And they're 6-1 in their last 7 road games against the spread. So a couple of really favorable trends there. Like I said, my numbers really like it. So I'm definitely on board with this pick.
All right. And moving on, what do you have at number 4?
Number 4, I've got Oklahoma State catching 5.5 at Texas. My numbers have Texas as like a half-point favorite in this game. So we're getting, 5 points of line value there, according to my numbers. A couple of quick trends. Oklahoma State is 5-0 as an underdog over the last 3 years, and they are 6-3 against the spread in their last 9 games against Texas specifically. So, for whatever reason, they've just seemed to match up well with Texas over the years. And we gave out the trend a couple weeks ago of Tom Herman as an underdog. Tom Herman as a favorite has not been great. I don't have the exact trend in front of me, but as a favorite, he's been very mediocre. He was like 13-2 as an underdog, but that is not the case as a favorite. And Oklahoma State thrives in that underdog role. So definitely putting some money on the Pokes this weekend.
All right. And what do you have at number 3?
Number 3, Illinois, the Fighting Lovey Smiths, are hosting Nebraska. Right now, the Illini are catching 13.5 points. My numbers would have this at about a 7.5, 8-point spread. So, we're getting about 5.5 points of line value there. Nebraska just 5-11 against the spread in the first half of the season over the last 3 years, and only 2-4 as a favorite of 10.5 to 21 points. So this game fits that bill, and also just a trend from my data on this game. Teams that have this statistical profile that I have in my system so far this season are 5-0. So these my top 3 picks all fit this profile. All of these have the same statistical profile as a trend that's 5-0 so far this year. So I'm definitely excited to back these teams this week.
Oh, wow. Yeah, definitely. All right. And what do you have at number 2 for us?
Number 2, I've got Virginia hosting Old Dominion. Virginia laying about 28.5 right now. That number is way down. I think it opened around 31. So just right there, we're getting 2.5 points of line value from the opening line. And my numbers have this at about 34.5. So that's 6 points of value there. Old Dominion just 4-11 in the first half of the season against the spread over the last 3 years. Virginia, meanwhile, 11-4-1 against the spread in their last 16 games. So they've been taking care of business, and what that trend tells you is that the market, the betting market, has not properly been able to value Virginia. So they've been getting a lot of value, and the public just hasn't quite caught up to that. So hopefully we can jump on that and make it 12-4-1.
Yeah, I like Virginia a lot. I'm a big fan of their quarterback, Bryce Perkins, and I love that it's kind of an ACC versus Conference USA matchup. Virginia should be physically stronger and just more athletic on both sides of the ball, and I do think that as high as that spread is, I think that it is an achievable number based on the skill that Virginia has on offense, particularly.
Yeah, and one thing about this game that kind of caught me by surprise when I was looking over all the stats and everything, the public right now is like 80. I think last time I checked, the public was 84% on Old Dominion in this spot. So that gives me a lot of confidence to be on the other side of that, because when the public is heavy on an underdog like that, especially a big underdog like this, those teams generally do not perform well against the spread. So that's just one more factor that kind of supports us making this pick.
Exactly. Oh, always fade the public.
Yeah,
they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, and I've actually come up with a formula and a way to actually quantify that in my system, so that my selection process for picking these games actually has a quantitative method for evaluating where the public's at, so that we can, in most cases, we're going to be on the other side.
All right. And what do you have for your number 1 pick of the week?
Top pick this week, Mississippi State hosting Kentucky. Mississippi State, 6-point favorite. That is down from, I think it opened at 7.5. So, 1.5 of line value already just from the line movement. But my numbers would have this at 14. So 8 points of line value, which is the second most of any of the top 5 this week. Second to Appalachian State, because I had them, winning outright as an underdog. But Mississippi State 5-1 in their last 6 against the spread in their last 6 at home. And they're also 8-4 against the spread in their last 12 versus Kentucky specifically. And again, just to reiterate, these top 3 picks, Mississippi State, Virginia, and Illinois, all 3 have the statistical profile in my system of a trend that's gone 5-0 so far this year. So hopefully we can keep that going.
Yeah, I really like this game a lot, mainly due to the fact that Kentucky's coming off that heartbreaking loss to Florida from last weekend, and Mississippi State is very good at home. You mentioned, the trend against the spread at home in the past, what was it, 6 games?
6, yep.
And I think this is a game where Kentucky's just not going to show up emotionally from last week, and I think the Cowbells are going to get the best of them this week.
Yeah. I think major letdown spot for Kentucky here. And again, public super heavy on Kentucky. I think last time I checked, the public was about 78% on Kentucky. So we'll gladly jump on the other side of that. The numbers support it, my trends support it. So we're gonna roll with them this week. So that's my top 5. If you want to follow me on Twitter at BuckeyeTie23, I'll likely tweet out probably a handful of other strong leans that I have as well. Because I know a lot of people like to bet on a lot of different games throughout the day. If they're, making a whole college football Saturday out of it, they like to have some action. So I'd be happy to give those out. Or if you want to lean on a particular game, feel free to hit me up. I'll be glad to let you know what my lean would be.
Yeah, and one last game that I was curious about myself was Michigan and Wisconsin. That's a very intriguing game to me. And that's one that I think, just in my opinion, I think Wisconsin is the much better team at this point in time. And I really like the value. I think last time I saw they were 3.5 point favorites against Michigan. It's in Wisconsin. I was just curious to see what your numbers said about this game.
Yep, you're right. I've got it at 3.5. I've got the spread right now at 3.5, and my numbers would have Wisconsin favored by 9. So you're right there. My numbers agree that Wisconsin is the better team, and definitely with the home field advantage there at Camp Randall, that's huge. I think I saw a stat today that Michigan hadn't won there in like almost 20 years or something crazy like that. So
oh, wow.
They've struggled at Camp Randall, and another stat that I heard about that game that really caught me by surprise, because when you think of Wisconsin, you just think that they're giving Jonathan Taylor the ball 35 times and calling it a day, but they're actually 23rd in the country in pass offense so far this year, with Jack Cohen at the quarterback. So I was really surprised to hear that, and I'm anxious to see, how they look against that Michigan defense. So that'll be an interesting one. Definitely one I'll have my eye on, just from an Ohio State perspective.
Yeah, Wisconsin's a team that's kind of been the most impressive in my opinion. I think that they are a lot better than people anticipated, and I've been very impressed with them up to this point, and kind of the opposite for Michigan up to this point. I think Michigan's still struggling to find their identity on offense, and even their defense hasn't been spectacular by any means.
Yeah, definitely. Michigan definitely has underwhelmed so far, and Wisconsin has definitely taken care of their business. I'm reserving judgment until I see them this weekend, because like as we saw with like Maryland, who came out and set the world on fire their first 2 games, scoring 79 and 63 points in their first 2 games. Everyone, kind of jumped on that bandwagon, and then they turn around and lose to Temple outright. So I'm going to reserve judgment on Wisconsin until this weekend. But if they come out and put a beating on Michigan, then I think you gotta think that they're for real.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to that game, and I can't wait to see, how Jonathan Taylor plays against a pretty good defense in Michigan. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see who can pull that one out. But I think that Wisconsin walks away with the W at home. But that's my prediction.
Yep, I agree, and my numbers agree.
All right. Do you have any other games that you wanted to talk about before we get off here?
I'm looking through the slate here real quick just to see if there's any of note. We got Georgia Notre Dame. I don't really have a strong play either way. My numbers would have that game at about 12.5. The spread is Georgia minus 14.5 last time I saw. So 2 points of value there, but not enough for me to really make a play on it. So that spread is pretty close to being on point. Clemson playing Charlotte. I've got Clemson by 47. That spread's 41.5. let's see it. There's one more big game. Oh, Auburn and Texas A&M. A&M favored by 4 at home. My numbers actually have Auburn as a 1.5 point favorite on that. So that play was actually almost a play for me. So it would be a strong lean to Auburn, but it's not something that I'm putting money down on at the current line.
Right. One more thing, going back to the Georgia Notre Dame game. This game to me feels like the game from a couple years ago when Notre Dame went down to Miami. Both teams were undefeated at the time, and Notre Dame just got their brains beat in by Miami. And that just feels like that's going to happen again. So if I were to bet it, I would probably put my money on Georgia. Georgia's at home. Anytime Notre Dame plays in a big game, they kind of shit down their leg a little bit.
And that's kind of my thinking too. I mean, just eye test. I think Georgia is better than a 2 touchdown favorite over Notre Dame, or I think they're 2 touchdowns better. So that's when my eye test doesn't quite match up with the numbers, that's a definite stay away for me.
Yeah, same. And I think that this game could end up like I'm going to say like a 38-13, 38-10, somewhere in there.
Yep,
I think it has that potential to be an all-out blowout. But
yep, I think so too.
Like you said, I don't know. I might stay away, or I might try to catch a live line or something during the game. But
yeah, a lot of times with games like that, that I don't have a strong lean on, I'll take a look at the live line. Depending on how that game starts out, and it's oftentimes you can find some value in there. So maybe you put something small down on it.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, if you don't have anything else, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode.
All right. Sounds good. I appreciate you having me, and hopefully we can all make some more money again this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. All right. It was good having you on once again, and I look forward to it next time.
Yep. All right. See you, man.
All right. See ya. All right. And that was Tyler Shoemaker with his top 5 college football plays of week 4 in the college football betting world. I'd like to thank him for coming on once again. And I'd also like to let you guys know that I'm kind of in the search for some more guests to appear on the show. I've been in talks with some pretty big names out there in the podcast world. So I'm looking to get them on, talk, some college football, maybe a little bit of NFL or something like that. And want to bring you guys, the most entertainment that I can. So I appreciate all the support that you've shown me up to this point, and I'd like to kind of keep that same energy moving forward. And yeah, like I said, I just really appreciate it. But as always, in this episode, I hope that you all learned something. I hope that you gained some new perspective, and most importantly, I hope you all were entertained. But thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Section 111 podcast.